I'm AdamHarry with
JayArr, and we're from BoLS Souls.
And we're here today to talk about the new Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This is the collector's edition.
Ooh, it's so fancy. It's real pretty.
Yeah, it's got the fancy cover,
it's got a fancy cover. It's got a sweet back cover as well. Oh man.
It's also got this different finish on the top.
Yeah,
it just feels different.
Kind of like a matte.
Yeah, I have the BoLS Guide collector's guide. It's the same type of finish, so if you have BoLS Guide, it's like that.
This looks really good next to a BoLS Guide collector's edition. I will say that.
So, what is Xanathar's Guide to Everything, JayArr?
Xanathar's Guide to Everything is a guide to everything, but more specifically, it's a sort of an expansion for D&D 5th edition. It adds a whole bunch of new player options in the form of subclasses, new feats for skills, new feats for races.
Right.
It adds a ton of new rules for DMs as well. It helps you expand out on traps, on activities to do during downtime, and then it has a lot of cool storytelling elements as well.
There's a ton of awesome charts you can use to randomize your character backstory even further than you can already do in the player's handbook. Man, one of the things I really like this book too. So much like Volo's Guide, where you had Volo writing notes about things that he's covering.
Right.
This book is written by Xanathar. JayArr, who's Xanathar?
Xanathar is a beholder who runs like the underworld, basically, in Waterdeep.
That explains the eyeball motif, if you were wondering.
He is also maybe not the only beholder to ever hold that title, because it's the Xanathar.
The Xanathar.
But if you ask him, he's the only one that there's ever been. He's perfect, and why would anyone ever challenge him? He's going to disintegrate you for asking. Yeah. This book is filled with that kind of personality.
Yes.
There are notes from him that are insane and hilarious.
Absolutely. And somewhat menacing at the same time.
Absolutely.
We'll read through some of those. We're not going to spoil all of them, because that's really where a lot of the comedy gold in this book comes from. But it really does help inform the character of the Xanathar and what he's doing, why he's writing the book. It's just really fun. It's a really fun book. Yeah. It adds a lot to the game.
And I like to see that kind of humor in this as well. It helps really set the tone for, like, I don't know, it helps set the tone for your own games. It makes you feel like, oh yeah, we should just kind of have fun with this and get out there and play.
At the same time, he can also be like a super menacing villain. So he does run the criminal underground, so he's not to be trifled with.
Absolutely not.
So yeah, let's take a look through. We're not going to show everything off. We're not going to go page by page, obviously. But we do want to show off some really cool stuff in there. Yeah. There's a lot to go through. Let's go ahead and pull that off, and we'll move this to the side.
All right. Let's open up. So first up, here we've got this amazing goldfish. That is Silgar. That is Xanathar's favorite friend.
Number one prized possession.
His number one prized possession. Daddy's little boy.
It's a goldfish.
It's a goldfish.
You better take care of him too.
Yeah, don't let anything happen to him.
If you do,
don't let Xanathar know that anything happened to him.
That's right.
You got your table of contents here. There's a lot of stuff to go through in this book.
Absolutely.
There are like 31 different subclasses featured in here. 27 are all new. 4 are reprints of very popular classes from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, which are the Storm Sorcerer, the Mastermind Rogue, the Swashbuckler Rogue, and
one more
that I can't remember offhand.
But it'll be in here.
Yeah. The Way of the Sun Soul for monks. But there are 27 all-new subclasses. You have seen previews of them from Unearthed Arcana, but I can say, having flipped through this, the final versions are totally different.
Not totally different,
but the final versions have been polished up, I guess, is what I mean to say. And it really makes a difference. A lot of these classes feel real exciting. Like, I can't wait to get out and try them.
Oh, yeah. I want to run so many different characters from this book now. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
Speaking of which, let's talk about what else is in the book. So after the character subclasses,
there are a lot.
We have the section entitled This Is Your Life, which is sort of a random life path generator for characters. We'll get into that when we get to that section of the book a little more, but it is totally worth checking out.
It's probably one of my favorite sections, obviously aside from the character stuff and the corpse from Xanathar. Actually, there's a lot of stuff that's my favorite in this book.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty rough to pick.
We finish up with racial feats. Then we have the Dungeon Master's tools, which include some rules clarification, some talks about simultaneous effects and how the environment works. Yeah. Random things like tying knots, various proficiencies, sleep, etc., etc. Encounter building design is in here, which is super helpful.
Yes.
And then there's a ton of stuff on what kinds of encounters you get and how to run traps that are meaningful encounters in and of themselves, or that can make a simple encounter into a deadly one.
Yeah. What I really like about this book too, it's not just for DMs or players. It really is for both, because it's designed to be used by both. Obviously, there's DM-centric sections and there's player-centric sections, but this is one of the books that you can buy as a player and not feel bad about, like flipping through and show and like,
because you'll get a ton of stuff, including stuff that's in the DM section. There are a bunch of new magic items, and that is one of my favorite parts of this book.
Yeah,
we'll get into those. You also get a ton of new spells, and then they close out the book with some random tables of names,
which is fantastic
stuff to draw from.
Yeah, the random name generating tables are fantastic if you're a DM, and if you're not good at making up names on the fly,
hey, you don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need to. Just go in the back, and there's different name generators from pretty much, I mean, a ton of different backgrounds.
Yeah,
you can get Arabic, Celtic, Chinese, Egyptian, English, French, German, Greek, Indian, Japanese, Mesoamerican, Niger, Congo, Norse, Polynesian, Roman, Slavier, and Spanish. Slavic, sorry. I was reading from a weird angle. Slavic and Spanish. I was like, Slavier, that's not a... Anyway, yes, there's a ton of names.
So, that's what's in the book. Let's start flipping through it and talk a little bit about stuff.
Yep. One thing too, folks might be wondering why they reprinted some of the classes in this book. It turns out if you are playing in the D&D Adventures League, when you create your character, typically you're only supposed to use 2 sources.
Yes, you can use the Player's Handbook plus 1 extra. And so by reprinting the 4 most popular Sword Coast Adventuring Guide variants, you can use all of the stuff that's in Xanathar's guide
to help flesh out your character for the Adventures League. If you're doing a home game,
well, and whatever.
Do whatever your DM lets you. Yeah. Just wanted to call that out real quick.
Absolutely. This book is chock full of gorgeous art, and we kick off with character stuff. So one of the things that I love about the way they've done characters here is that they've got...
They have the example of what each character is.
Yeah.
So this one is, for example, left to right, you've got a Bards of the Colleges of Glamour, of Swords, and of the College of Whispers. But each set of character classes, they have kind of a quick overview of what they all look like.
I want to point out something hilarious about the Bard College of Swords. So their name is the College of Swords, but if you read the rules, there's nothing that says that the weapon you use has to be a sword. So you could be a bard who got kicked out of the College of Swords because you insisted on using a longbow. You'll miss out on some minor benefits, but it's hilarious, and also their rules work really well with ranged weapons. Anyway, not to get too bogged down in specifics, I do want to talk about the extra lore and storytelling prompts that they have provided in this. So here's the Cleric section, for example.
They
talk, before they even get into the rules of the new class, they talk about the sort of background that your character might have. So for instance, this cleric, if you're a cleric, you're obviously from a temple, or you worship a god or something like that. And they give you some different kind of character elements to think about.
What was your temple like?
Yeah, what was your temple like? What's a keepsake that you carry with you?
And do you have some relic that you keep for good luck or for as an act of faith or something?
And sort of example options here, like the finger bone of a saint, or a pig whistle that reminds you of your humble and beloved mentor, etc. Or you also have a secret. Not everything is a
up and up, so to speak.
An inherently positive quality.
Yeah.
So some of the secrets might be. My favorite is, an imp offers you counsel from time to time. You try and ignore it, but sometimes it's pretty helpful. Or you acknowledge the power of the gods, but you think that most events are dictated by pure chance. So if that's like one of your core beliefs as a character, just imagine if you were a cleric of like the god of chance.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile that?
Also, we mentioned this at the start too. Xanathar's got these little quips, and I really like the cleric one. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He says these little notes the little notes on the side of the books. He says, "I don't understand the attraction of the gods. Why would anyone worship anything other than me?"
I don't know.
I can't argue. But they're all those type of notes are littered all over this book, and they are all funny.
And every class...
Or menacing.
You can see how long this section is. Every single class gets that treatment. Like, every class has some new expanded background stuff to consider. Some kind of personal connection to get your character tied into the game right away. So even if you haven't...
I was just looking at the Horizon Walker one.
Oh, man. Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah, the Horizon Walker real quick. New Ranger subclass. It's all about exploration and stuff like that. Horizon Walker, this is what Xanathar has to say about them. You can't walk to the horizon because it keeps getting farther away. Boom! Did I just blow your mind? I did, didn't I?
Exactly.
Thanks, Xanathar, you did.
And the Horizon Walker is amazing. Like, I don't know.
By the way,
their final version turned out like, it's so good. I really want to play one. And I did not expect to feel that way about one of the Ranger subclasses.
Yeah.
I usually don't really like them, but they're cool.
One of the roguish things I really like that they did in the roguish archetype is they have your benefactor. Like we talked about earlier with the cleric, but the rogue also gets similar treatment. You have a benefactor. Maybe this is somebody that you owe a favor to.
Yeah, someone that has helped you out
in the past.
Yeah.
And they may come to collect it at some point. It's a really great plot hook, but it's just an extra thing to have.
Well, and two, go ahead and keep flipping, but the thing that I really like is that they are such specific details that really ground your character in the world, and that they kind of reinforce the idea that the characters you're making are your like inroad into this shared world that everyone's kind of creating, and it kind of hammers home the idea that your creativity and your ideas have just as much hold and sway on the world as the GMs, and it's I don't know, I haven't seen this idea done up in another like Player's Handbook 2 or something like that. It's a subtle really thing because it's just from random tables, but it adds to the feel so well.
This section is the This Is Your Life section, and this is one that Jay and I both are really excited about. It goes through your origin. Now, when you're creating your character, you have like you pick your background,
right?
Your race, your
class.
Yeah, but you also have like
the flaw, the connection, the idea.
Right, the ideals that you you have all those. This one expands that section.
It adds a granular level of detail to it.
Yeah.
You get everything from like your origins. What was your childhood home like?
What were your parents like?
What are some memories that you have of your childhood? And again,
they're not all good, they're not all bad. Some of them are kind of in the middle too, so it makes your character feel really alive.
And even if you have like better ideas, these are perfect jumping off points.
Absolutely.
Because they help remind you of like, okay, but did you think about what your childhood home was like?
Yeah.
And
are both of your parents still alive?
Yeah.
If not, how did they die? Because that's a chart in here you can roll on.
What were your parents like? Do you have happy memories? Were they absentee?
If you have a background like a criminal, entertainer, folk hero, those are all standard backgrounds from the Player's Handbook. But these are extra options.
Yeah.
And they kind of explain not just the option of like, I'm an Outlander, it's
but
like
they explain
why you're an Outlander.
Which is cool because a lot of the backgrounds have they have a lot of lore and fluff to them.
Yeah.
But the reason that you become one is because
the ambiguity.
You want the skills, you want the proficiencies that you get, or you want like the background ability so that you can like do whatever. You're like, that makes sense.
There's really two types of players. There's the players that make their background fit their character, and then there's other players that make their character fit their background, if you know what I mean. And
this kind of allows you to bridge that gap, which is pretty cool. So
if you want to completely randomize your character, and have like a fleshed out backstory now, you absolutely can. If you just want to have those launching off points that JayArr was talking about, you can do that.
I recommend, if you pick this book up, I recommend trying it at least once. Even if you're not happy with how it ends up, like you're still going to end up with an interesting result.
Absolutely.
That you can later on tweak and be like, aha.
Or
I'll
you've
show
just
you
created
number.
Or you've just created a really awesome NPC.
Yeah.
That you can use in a campaign later.
Which that's the other note. Like these are super handy for GMs.
Not only does it have like your background archetype, you also have your classes you can come up.
Yeah.
Like, why did you become a rogue or a sorcerer or a wizard? Like, why did you do those things?
And then
crazy life events table, which I
love. Long list of life events that spans like
adventures.
2 pages. It talks about adventures you've had. It talks about weird events that have happened in your life.
If you're a wizard or sorcerer, did you have an arcane master? Well, what was your arcane master like? If you were just an outcast, did you commit a crime? What was the punishment for that crime? And then
a lot of times, rolling on the master table will point you to one of the subtables. We've got
tragedy
subtables for like
did you fight in a war,
for supernatural events, for things like that.
Yeah.
It is just sort of.
I love this table.
Exhaustively researched.
Yeah.
And then we end the player section with racial feats,
which we're not going to get into too much.
They're cool.
They're good.
They're good. Just you can check them out. Then we flip into the Dungeon Masters.
I like this too. It talks about the sleep mechanic real quick. This one is going without a long rest, so it's added effects if you want to play a game where, say, your characters are pushing themselves really hard. Just added stuff that's like explains those mechanics a little bit more granular, so you can use them. They are optional, but they're just extra tools the DM can use. Speaking of tools the DM can use, tools.
Tools in the game. They talk about like what the tool kits are like.
You ever been making a character and you have like an alchemist kit? You're like, cool. Yeah. What do I do with that thing?
What is it?
What is a forgery kit? Well, I'll make forge, but like, why do I need leather workers tools?
What are some different types?
Am I gonna make leather?
What exactly does my vehicle proficiency let me do?
Yeah.
And this kind of expands on those rules a little bit. And that's sort of the theme of the DM section, is it takes the stuff that you already know and it sort of expands on it. I want to go over the spellcasting section real quick here, because it talks about how you can, if you're using a map, how you can kind of envision various things like blasts or cones, or how to like make with dice. How to set up your various areas so that you can represent them, because that's generally a challenge.
The encounter building I really liked too. Having DM'd and designed encounters, I found that these charts were really, really helpful, just compared to the ones in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes.
They just break things down a little simpler. One of the things I really liked, for example, was solo monster challenge rating. So if you have one monster you want to throw at your players, if they're all level 6 and you have, let's say, a party of 4 characters, you could throw a level 8 monster at them and not feel too bad.
Yeah, well, and that's for like an average difficulty.
Yeah, you can up it or lower it based on what you're going for.
Honestly, the way most D&D games go, you probably want to just up it, because players are going to optimize their characters. And
magic items also take note.
Magic items will be a part of the game.
But if you're a brand new DM,
this is a great place to start, and also they've got some really good ideas in here.
Oh yeah, the encounters tables there are also a bunch of random encounters, which are fantastic to throw out at your party.
They're just handy to keep on hand
if
you want to. Like, as you can see, there's
a lot. Are you fighting in the hills? Are you fighting in the jungle? Are you fighting in the Underdark?
What
it
environment?
Just keeps going.
What level are the
How
characters?
do you want to do your game? How do you want to throw your encounter? Like, it just fits.
Here we've got the trap section, and as you can see, they go a lot more in depth. Each of the traps in this book is treated a little bit like a multi-part monster. It reminds me a lot of like a legendary monster. Traps have their own initiative. They have different effects that happen at different initiative times, and sometimes they'll hit characters more than once.
The complex traps were really cool.
They have combo traps, like a magic tunnel with a gust of wind that blows characters into some whirling blades.
Oh yeah.
And the blades are poisoned, for instance.
Magic item creation.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, here we're into the downtime activities, which are have some of my favorite tables in the game. So these are various things that you can do when you're not adventuring. One of the rewards that people will frequently get in the Adventurers League are downtime days.
Downtime days, yeah.
And even if you're not playing them, there's a lot of time where you're like, all right, we need the story to move along. We're gonna you guys take 3 months to do whatever.
Here's some examples of the things you can do.
I love carousing. I just want to highlight this one most of all.
What is carousing?
Going out drinking, sort of making contacts is maybe your idea. But anytime you take a downtime activity, there's a chance that you'll get a complication. And if you get a complication, then you need to consult the tables here, which might have things like...
You can get pickpocketed or...
Surprise! You're married! And that's if you're a lower class carousing. Let's see, where is it?
The social gap.
No. Oh. On the middle class carousing table, my very favorite one in the whole book. You have been recruited to help run a local festival, play, or similar event. Which, especially if you're the party's barbarian or something, I don't know. I love these kinds of shenanigans. A lot of times they're not the main.
It's not a combat encounter.
Yeah, they're not the main bread and butter, but they're ideas that build the immersion so much.
Yes.
And that's what sort of is the running theme of this is that yes, combat is a very important part of D&D, and the rules are very well balanced for that.
But this adds so much more to the narrative side that just makes your characters feel more alive and feel more immersion in the game.
And it adds mechanics to help
mechanically,
nudge the narrative in different directions.
Yeah.
Which can help
and
take
some
of
of
the
these are
pressure
game
off.
breaking.
Yeah.
None of these are if you don't do this, you die. It's just they're there.
Yep.
And they add things to the game that you may not have thought of before.
Speaking of things to the game that you may not have thought of before.
Is it magic items time?
It's magic items time.
Oh, these are so good.
They have a list of, here we are, a list of magic items.
These are common
magic items, which some of them are kind of comic. Let's read 3.
We got to do the Cloak of Billowing.
Yes,
that's probably...
These are magic items that you can feel great about rewarding to your adventurers.
Absolutely.
And never have to worry about unbalancing the game. Things like the Cloak of Billowing. What does that do, Adam?
The Cloak of Billowing, it's a wondrous item. It's common. While wearing this cloak, you can use a bonus action, pretty cool, to make it billow dramatically. That's it. That's all it does. It's a magic item that just makes you look cool. There's
also the Dread Helm, which is
sounds spooky. What does it do?
Grave-looking helm, which when you wear it makes your eyes glow red. But they're not they're not all exactly as singly useful as those items. We also have things like the Hat of Wizardry, which is a wizard's hat, like the classic pointy
comb,
wizard hat, everything, which you can use as a spellcasting focus, and you can try to cast a cantrip that you don't know,
which is kind of
cool. You have to make a DC 10 Arcana check.
Which you're a wizard, so come on.
Yeah, you're gonna do well, not always, but yeah. You can pull a random spell literally out of your hat, which is pretty cool.
The imagery there is.
They have a number of just kind of common, super low level magic items, and then they have more. But it's sort of
more
reinforce
charts
the idea that you're in this world where magic is real and people make magic items all the time.
Oh, speaking of magic items, hang on. I gotta flip back to probably one of my top 5 Xanathar quotes in the entire book.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I gotta find it first though. Sorry.
I think I remember.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. Never rely on magic items. They're so fickle. First they work and then they don't. On, off, in the blink of my eye. Yeah.
Because
he's a beholder. Anyway. We cracked up at that.
There are a ton of new spells in this book as well.
We're not going to go through all those, but...
That's what rounds out the section. These are a whole bunch of new spells that you can bring to bear on your enemies. Some of them
they might be brought to bear on you.
Some of them are great. Some of them are questionable, but there is a ton here for every class to kind of draw from. And then it kind of closes out on talking about ways to run your campaign, different systems for rewards, because that can be a hassle.
We also talked about XP earlier in the book too, how to do XP if you're doing a milestone system, how many checkpoints you need to make before levels, things like that.
And then of course we've got
all the names.
All the names you could want.
Yeah.
And that's Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Yeah. This of course is the collector's edition. It's got the special cover. However, the difference between the standard edition and collector's edition is pretty much
just the cover. Yeah. Yeah. You can. This book is out in stores on November 10th. I don't know when you're watching this video, but that's when it is out in select.
Officially.
That's when it's out in select game stores, and then it's out everywhere November 21st. You can pre-order online. Just go to dnd.com, and you'll find it from there. It's on their front page right now. Yeah. At any rate, we really like this book.
Absolutely.
Definitely recommend checking it out.
We're going to be talking about this book too all week on our website, BoLSSouls.net, and we're going to be doing coverage of this. We also have our weekly D&D game, which JayArr runs.
And so tune in on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, and you can see us put Xanathar's Guide into action if you want to try it before you buy it.
Yeah, that's on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/BoLSSouls. You'll find us there every Monday night, 5:30 Central, playing D&D, having a blast, using the stuff in here. I can't wait to see if you throw some Billowing Cloak in.
Oh, items like the Billowing Cloak are right at home in our campaign, just to give you guys a hint of what it's like.
It's fun time.
Anyway, I'm JayArr.
I'm AdamHarry.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good one.